We'll just listen to another song as people come in, find your place in the room, making yourself comfortable, knowing that you are here in the right place. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And that was music from Karen Drucker, who is from Australia. And it's a song called Ho'oponopono, which in the Hawaiian tradition is about making amends and being together in community. So welcome for being here today. This is a session, the Welcoming Prayer Embodied, Consent on the Go. I'm here with my sister in dance, my colleague. This is Wendy Morel for the Sacred Dance Guild. And I am Pulelehua, and we are very happy that you are here. This session will be about deepening our connection to the divine indwelling in the moments of everyday life. And we will have some embodied experience, as well as I'll talk a little bit about what the welcoming prayer is, where it comes from, and all of those things. You are welcome to use the chat at any point to put in anything you like, what your session, if you're doing a session later, whatever you might like to share with your friends here. I've put in some links to some websites that we use, as well as in the details for this session, which you may be able to find if you scroll down. If not, you can find them again on the main page. When you click to details, you'll see various documents that are the presentation, the PowerPoint from this, and other delightful things that you might want to know more about the welcoming prayer. So if you have a question that you want me specifically to speak to, if you can use the Q&A, great. But if not, my friend Wendy will be monitoring things, and she will interrupt me when I am not paying attention and I need to know what's going on. So this session is for you, what it is that you need in this moment. So I am Pulelehua, as I said, and I am from Honolulu, Hawaii. I have been here in Hawaii for about 40 years. I give thanks to the indigenous people of this land, the Kanaka Maole, the Hawaiian people. This is a land that was first discovered by Polynesians in the 12th century, and they came, and this area where I live, which I've put up here on the screen for you, is the first area, according to legend, that the Polynesians came. The largest fish pond area here in the island, which is now half filled with homes that they filled in the 1950s. And between these two mountains. So, and I live right here between these in the Ahu Pa'a Waimanalo, which is in Hawaiian culture, there were areas of the island and people in those areas worked together, and it would include the mountains all the way to the sea. So I give thanks to the people of this land for allowing me to be here and for this. So I, like you, am a person who's had a history. I've done all kinds of things in my life. And the welcoming prayer is about the fact that what we are and who we are and the things that we've done live on in our bodies. The issues are in the tissues. Where are we? Who are we? All of the things that I've experienced. The joy of my son, the death of my son, the wonders of snorkeling, the pain of having cancer. All of those things are still embodied in me, and in day-to-day life, I often find that things come up that really have nothing to do with the moment, that happened to something that's happened previously. And the welcoming prayer is about living with those things, being embodied in them, and inviting the divine indwelling to be with you. So the practice comes from contemplative outreach. It's not something I made up. Father Keating and Mary Morawski, who is this wonderful dancey lady, she is the creator of this spiritual practice with the community of the Chrysalis House, which was an intentional living community. And she worked with Father Thomas Keating, who is the father of centering prayer. And his description of her was, her bonding with God became so exuberant that everything she did became a prayer. And I like to think that that would be possible for us, that everything we do is a prayer. So I'm grateful for this prayer and this practice. So let's just go right to it. Let's look at this prayer and this practice, and I'm going to stop the share so that you can take a moment and I can see you. Oh, I can't see you. I forgot. Oh, how delightful. I can see my friend Wendy, and I can see your hearts being reflected through your delightfulness in this space. Our hearts are connected all throughout the world. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Taking a breath, feel and sink into your body. I welcome everything that comes to me today because I know it is for my healing. I welcome all thoughts, feelings, emotions, persons, situations, and conditions. I let go of my desire for power and control. I let go of my desire for affection, esteem, approval, and pleasure. I let go of my desire for survival and security. I let go of my desire to change any situation, condition, person, or myself. I open to the love and presence of God and God's action. The welcoming prayer practice is about this warehouse of the unconscious, this body. This is a picture of an island off the coast where I live, and you can see this peak of this island coming up above the water. But what we don't see is this unconsciousness, this that is below the surface, that is dwelling in our bodies with the divine indwelling. The welcoming prayer practice is designed to be done in the moments of everyday life. So when you have a circumstance that comes up, and we're going to call those triggering events, it might be the sound doesn't work on the presentation. It might be someone cuts you off in traffic. It might be something really difficult, like a death of a loved one. There are triggering events, and they're triggering events because we have our own attachments and aversions, things we like and things we don't like. We want those, and when those interact with this triggering event, it becomes a trigger, whatever it might be. You push that button and oh my gosh, it happened. For me, it's the loud sounds when I'm trying to meditate. It's my regular. Well, when the frustration happens, whatever the experience might be for you in that moment, we could take a moment to pause, to consent to God's presence and action in our life. Or we could do all these other things. We could have, we could erupt, we could be excited, we could sulk. There's many things, and I know there's a lot of things on the screen now, but if the thing that you do is not here, know that it's just a think of it. Whatever it might be that happens to you when something sets you off. The idea with the welcoming prayer is that it comes in that moment, in that time. And it's not that these feelings or emotions would go away. You'll still have them. But by inviting the divine indwelling, consenting to the divine indwelling's presence in your life, they become different, and you might have additional things that came in. You might suddenly feel safe, or there might be calmness, or perhaps not. So for me, this practice, the issues and the tissues, I like to look at it like this. I have this consciousness, and the consciousness allows me to feel and sink into my body. It allows me to sense what I'm feeling in the moment. I can welcome the experience, welcome all that's happening to me right now. A little flutter in my heart, I'm a little nervous, I can't see people, where are they? Am I here? Is anyone else here? Oh, Wendy's here. I have that's going on for me right now, and I'm welcoming that experience. And in this moment, along with welcoming that experience, I welcome that divine indwelling, the indwelling presence, the spark, the mystery to come and be here with me. And then there's all these unconscious things, fear of abandonment, the things that happened to me as a child, all these things that are dwelling in my body that when I get triggered, they come up again. And they don't come up consciously. This is an unconscious. This practice is about letting those go and embracing this moment as it is. So the first step is to feel and sink into the body, sense the experience. And we're going to spend some time going through just all of this as movement practice. I'm just going to summarize it for you, and then we're going to just move. We'll have so much fun. And the second movement is to welcome this in your body as an opportunity to consent. And the third movement is to let go. And we let go by saying, I let go of my desire for security, affection, control, and embrace this moment as it is. And I know that we need security, affection, and control. We need all of these things. But this is about being attached to them to the level that they interfere with the activities of daily. So let's do this together. So find yourself a comfortable place. You can be sitting, lying down, standing. I'm going to stand and move around, and Wendy's going to join me. Lovely. The first step for feeling and sinking into the body is to just feel the breath. Notice the breath in your body. And move in whatever small way that works for you, feeling the breath come. I'm going to turn on my fan. It's going to help me feel that breath. It's warm here. As I feel the breath, I sense the smells around me. I'd be decked in flowers. I can smell them. Maybe you smell food cooking or something from your environment as the breath and the air comes in. Now we're going to engage in a body scan, and we're going to start at the top of our body, the head, and we're going to sense what's in our head. Now, you can tap, I'm lightly tapping, but you can also do this by just using your internal vision to sense what's going on in your head, on your face. Is it tight? Does it feel sore? Maybe I have a little tension between my eyebrows. How does your jaw feel? Your lips? ears, the space behind your ears, your eyes, the space behind your eyes, the things you've seen, the things you wish you hadn't seen, the things you wish you would see, and the smells, and the tastes, and the words that come from our throat, noticing the throat. Notice any sensation you may feel. No need to label it or try to change it, but you're allowed to move while you do this. So the back of your neck, for me, I find that to be able to really sense my neck and where it connects to my head and my torso, I need to move it. I'm going to move my head. It makes little sounds for me. And come where your throat connects into your torso, clavicle, shoulders, the arms connect into the body, biceps and triceps, the elbow, forearm, the wrist, the hand, finger. And the other side of the body where the arm connects in, the biceps and triceps, the elbow, forearm, the wrist, the hand. Take lots of time feeling and sinking into the body and noticing. Because in the moment, we want to be really good at this. So when something happens in the moment, we can find our bodies. And I'm a mover, and I still find this hard. So we come to the torso. Our lungs come up and down our back. So feeling the breath in your back, and down to the center of your back and your lower back. Feeling, sensing. Down your sides. Feel and sense. Feel a little tightness. And just notice if you feel tightness or pain, whatever it might be, just notice it. Coming down the front side, notice your heart rate. Is it fast or slow? Can you hear it? In the breath, and then we come to the na'au. The indigenous people of this land call this space between your rib cage and your navel the na'au. It's where the thoughts and emotions are felt. And where we think from this space in our body. And oftentimes I sense things here, perhaps you do too. And then we come to the place that we sit upon and into our creation parts and our guts. And then where the legs connect in to the torso, your hip joint, connecting in and coming down the leg, the thigh, the knee, the shin, calf, the miraculous ankle, feet. It's amazing that we can walk on these feet, and perhaps you can feel them on the ground and flex them, and perhaps they're in a shoe or a sock. Perhaps they are just out in the air. And coming down the other side, where the leg connects into the torso, and the thigh, and the knee. Calf and the shin, the ankle, and the foot. Notice and feel and sink into all of those feelings in this moment. In this moment, as it is. And so now that we've had kind of a sense of where our body is, let's look at the ways we can balance the actions in our body, helping our neurological pathways. One of the ways is to really notice where your spine is. Your spine goes from your tail to right below and connects into your cranium, to your head space. And so just notice that, wiggle that spine. The synovial fluid is the fluids that come there in your nerve endings. I like to think of it as the grace and the love and the joy of God flowing through you. And when you wiggle your spine, all of your body benefits. So if you're someone who gets stiff when you sit, if you get up and wiggle your lower spine, it will make a difference. The upper spine often gets kind of frozen up, especially this mid back. And so let's bring our hearts forward and bring our hearts in. Bring the heart forward again. Now bring the heart up. For me to bring the heart up, I have to actually bend my knees. For this to happen, so make sure you're keeping yourself comfortable and in the space you need to be. And then coming to a centered place. Bring your heart to one side. And bring your heart to the other side. And now see if you can take that upper, your thoracic spine, that upper part of your body, and circle one way, feeling and connecting, and circling the other way. As we feel and sink into the body, noticing all of the places. One of the ways to help our body process trauma is the startle reflex. So something that happens in the first year of life, you've seen a baby's all sleeping sweetly, and then a loud sound happens and they jump. We as adults, when we hear a loud sound, we don't jump anymore. Instead, it gets all frozen in our bodies. So if we take some time to come into that safe oneness place, we're so safe and we're so connected, and then we reach out, jumping or slow, however, feeling that, this can really help that edginess that might come up in the body, processing it, being with it. So 2 more times in your own time, coming to smallness, and then when you're ready, reaching out. Make sure you reach behind you sometimes or to the side, above and below. The lower body is about our beliefs and where we are. So oftentimes you may have seen the super person stance where people stand like this. And that's about putting this energy into the lower body. If you're in a situation where you have these strong beliefs and you're feeling wishy-washy or you're feeling stressed about how do I describe this? How would anyone believe me? Which happens for me. Putting that energy into your lower body, your faith, your belief, and feeling the lower body. So take a little time to move in the space, feeling your lower body. In the Hawaiian hula tradition, we circle our hips, and it's really like a smile. So it's flat across the front and it goes out to the back. Circle one way, and then to balance, circle the other. Draw a figure 8 on the ground. And draw a figure 8 on the screen. Your hips are coming up and down from one side to the other. And then walk a figure 8 on the ground for the infinity sign. Let's make it the infinity sign. And we welcome all that we're feeling in this moment. And the upper body reaches out into the world. This is how we share and receive. Reaching out, noticing, reaching up, coming down, reaching to one side and to the other. And now following your hands with your eyes, looking up. Eye tracking allows our brains to engage with the body, coming down on the other side, reaching up and coming down to the other side. And then looking down, again, you're following your hands with your eyes and noticing. See if you can wrap around to kind of look over your shoulder, however that is comfortable for you. And then coming to center and wrapping around to the other side. Perfect. Now we'll go into the sidedness, which is about decision making. When you have a choice to make, to feel it in your body, to feel and sink in, accentuating one side of the body builds the other side of the brain. So I have a choice. Should I talk more about the place I live, or should I talk more about the welcoming prayer? You know, I have choices. Should I retire? Should I go back to work? Whatever the choices are, and then you might take that same choice and put it in the other side of the body so that you're processing it. And then you trust the body to give you signals to allow you to know where you are and what you're doing. And then we come across the body. This helps integrate the right and left sides of the brain so we can give ourselves a giant hug. Oh, beautiful hug. And then let's hug ourselves lower. Let's hug ourselves over our heads and behind the head if you can. Hug behind your back and maybe low behind your back. And if you can't actually cross, imagine you're crossing. Whatever it is for you. And now wiggle again. My spine got really activated by that. Wiggling the spine is always a good thing. And then the last thing we want to do is build our vestibular system or our sense of balance in the world and in the places. And to do that, we become a tiny bit dizzy, just a little bit. But the healing and the growth of the vestibular system happens in the stillness, in the recovery. I think that may be true of everything in life. We have all these things happen, and we're struggling, and then in the recovery, the compassion in action is that compassion for the self and the recovery in the moment. So if you're comfortable turning and you're standing, that's great. Otherwise, you can tilt from side to side. The vestibular system is the eyes and the ears and the proprioceptors, which are all throughout the body, telling us where we are in space and time. So we move from side to side, making sure your eyes are focusing on things. That's what helps us become dizzy. I'm going to turn. I like to turn. I let go of the desire for security, affection, control, and embrace this moment. Then I come into stillness. In the stillness, you feel the healing happening. Welcoming all that you're experiencing, welcoming the divine indwelling, the divine spirit, the miracle, the mystery, the spark. And now, if you were tilting sideways, tilt forward and back. If you were turning, turn the other direction. And you want to become dizzy again and again. Engaging the eyes helps us become dizzy. I become dizzy very fast doing this tilt. Continue to go a few more seconds, or turn if you prefer. And turn, because I can turn without becoming too dizzy. This can help with all kinds of balances in the spiritual life and also vertigo and the physical parts that have to do this. And welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome that experience. It's hard for me to be still, and the healing happens in the stillness, but I have a tendency to move and sway and find the space. Maybe you do too. So now we're going to talk a little bit more about the welcoming prayer. And if you have questions about the welcoming prayer, we're going to look at it in a little more depth, and then we will move through it in a quicker fashion. So the welcoming prayer is designed to be done on the breath in the moment. So inhaling acceptance, exhaling surrender. Inhaling as you feel and sink into the body, noticing, welcoming the experience of the body, welcoming the divine indwelling, and letting go. And the hardest part of this, for I think everyone, is the letting go part. So let's look at the letting go for a moment. Letting go. How do we let go? And let it mean that we don't need these things. It means we're letting go of our attachment to them and allowing the divine indwelling to be there with us in this place and time. So it may be difficult to let go. It's quite difficult for me. We have a mind, and it tells us things like, "Oh, I'm right. Everybody else is wrong." maybe you don't have that, but I certainly have that. And by letting go of my need to be right, I allow the divine indwelling to come in. And, maybe I was right. But maybe the divine indwelling will let me see somewhere else, something else. We have emotions and feelings that validate the way we think. So I think a particular way because that's my life experience, and I'm enjoying that, and my emotions tell me, oh, yes, that's right. And we just know that that's part of us. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we let go of our desire for that affection, that control, that security, if we let go of that attachment, we allow perhaps a new view to come in. So letting go to whatever's happening on this interior level and surrendering. And by surrendering, I mean we're turning to the divine indwelling, that indwelling presence, so that we can see really what is actually happening on the interior level, and surrender to the reality instead of perceiving it all through our thoughts and feelings and emotions. So this has been a year of a lot of things happening for people. Or 18 months of this COVID time, this time of grief. And in this parliament, we're talking about opening our hearts to the world. I don't know about you, but my heart has been broken over and over and over in this time period. I have been broken open so many times in this time period. Maybe you have too, or perhaps something else has happened for you. And so opening our hearts to the world does not sound like a really safe thing to be doing. But with the welcoming prayer practice, knowing that as I'm surrendering, as I'm letting go, the divine indwelling, that indwelling presence is with me, and that I can trust my body to help me with all of those things, it makes a difference. And my favorite part of the theme for this, though, is compassion in action. Because to me, that is what the welcoming prayer is. It's compassion in action for me. That I can be self-compassionate. That when things come up and I am traumatized, or, it can be something small. I was on the big island of Hawaii recently, and there's a live volcano on the big island of Hawaii. And I got to go and see the volcano erupt and stay there and see the fountaining, and I felt fine there. But I stayed at my friend's house, who lives where the eruption was 3 years ago. And in her neighborhood, many homes were destroyed. People lost, no human life was lost, but many animals and plants and all sorts of things were destroyed. When I'm in that place, I feel the stress in my body. Maybe there's a place that brings it up for you in this time. So take a moment and just close your eyes and feel and sink into your body and notice. Whatever that is that's coming up for you, notice where you feel it in your body. It might be an emotion, a feeling, a sensation. Notice. Feel and sink into that sensation. Welcome, embrace this moment as it is, embracing this feeling in your body. Welcome, and as you welcome this experience, it's an opportunity to consent to the divine indwelling, that indwelling presence. That spark, that mystery, whatever it is that you use for that, the higher power, God, whatever it is, you have something, you are here in this environment. It may be nature, it could be anything, but you trust and you let go into that, consenting to that divine presence. Whatever the word is you use for the divine presence, and let go. Let go of the desire for security, affection, control. And embrace this moment as it is. Embrace this moment as it is. So one of the delightful things in your handouts is this image, which is what I use to help me with this prayer, to remember it, to feel and sink in, to welcome and let go. And it has this short version of this prayer. I let go of the desire for security, affection, control. And if this prayer is something that appeals to you, it feels like something that, oh, I think this makes sense to me, there's much more information you can get about it. There's workshops. My personal website and YouTube channel has them, but there's Contemplative Outreach, has many things about this. So Mary Morawski, who is the mother of this, says to welcome and let go is one of the most radically loving, faith-filled gestures we can make in the moment of every day. It's an open-hearted embrace of all that is in ourselves and in the world. But this is my very favorite quote of all of hers, which is, the way to understand this practice is to do it. This prayer, this practice, we only understand it when we do it, because it is completely and absolutely illogical and irrational. It makes no sense that this works. I have no idea. Why would I trust that this works? But I found that it does. So we practice, and the goal is consent on the goal. To be able to, in the moment, inhale acceptance and exhale surrender. So are there, I never asked you to pop up the polls. Could you launch the polls for me, Wendy? And were there any questions in the chat? So I'm a retired librarian and I really love polls. So as the polls pop up, you can answer them. You can also find them under the poll link. They'll come on your screen. So I'll give you a couple of moments. Were there any questions in the chat?
I don't see any right now.
Okay, so we will just then close with some of my favorite pictures, because it's so fun to show great pictures. And I live in a place that really allows for that. So if you have questions, though, please feel free to put them in the chat or contact me afterwards. All right, so here is one of the places where I walk in the morning for my sunrise walk. And it allows me to remember why I do these things. Because that light was flickering off and on and making me feel uncomfortable. So I feel and sink into my body. I inhale and and let go. So I see a question, can I clarify welcoming prayer versus contemplative prayer? So the welcoming prayer is an active practice. So the idea is that it's an active practice to be done in the moments of ordinary life. So for me, anyways, contemplative practice is I sit in silence, I do centering prayer, I do walking meditations with a mantra, so centering prayer. So that's a silently sitting in silence with your divine, and you build that reservoir of silence that you take with you to everyday life. This is a complementary practice in that same school. So in contemplative outreach, which is where centering prayer comes, is the welcoming prayer and several other prayers. And the welcoming prayer is about the moments of everyday life, to feel and sink into the body, to welcome what you're feeling, welcoming the divine indwelling as an opportunity to consent the feelings, or an opportunity to consent to the divine indwelling and let go of your desire for security, affection, and control. Embracing this moment. So it's the everyday life moments. I hope that answers that question. They're taught together often. So just as in centering prayer, we don't necessarily see the results from centering prayer happening in the moment when we're centering, but they happen in the everyday life. And usually it's someone else that notices them. They may be small moments, things that change. And there should be a video for this later. So thank you. And so the fruits of the welcoming prayer offer us opportunities to respond instead of react, to embrace instead of fighting or suppressing our feelings, to freely and lovingly move towards appropriate action, and to become free to experience the divine presence, which might heal or provide our needs or transform us, or perhaps just be with us as we live through this. So in the handouts and here on the screen, there's many places you can learn more about this. If you'd like to engage in a group who does this regularly, there are people who do this on in the meditation chapel. I'm going to skip, we're right about at the end of our time. So here are the two places where I regularly lead welcoming prayer practices. One is in the meditation chapel, which is a contemplative, typically people are sitting, not moving around. And then one day a week, I lead mindful brain dance, which is a moving, embodied, welcoming prayer practice. Both of these times are Hawaii time. So my website is on the screen, but it's also in the chat and it's in my bio. So you can go there and it's free. There's Zoom links to get into them. And if you haven't done the meditation chapel yet, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful place to get to go and hang out with other like people. And remember, your task is not to seek for love, but to find all those barriers within yourself that you may have. So it says it's going to stop us in 31 seconds. So if there's any other questions, I would love to hear from you or see your text. But otherwise, I think we're in that perfect place. So Wendy, you could end all of the polls if you want. Excellent. So thank you all for being here. Whether you're here in the same moment that this is being presented, or whether you're here later, know that when we tell mo'olelo, when we tell stories in Hawaiian, we say that there is no timeline. It's not linear. It all comes in all the different times, and that's true for this too. Aloha no kako. I'm going to stop the broadcast. Woohoo! Enjoy the rest of your day. It's really phenomenal, isn't it? Are you having so much fun? I'm having so much fun. Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I love the little video chats. So you. What's your favorite part, Wendy? Quick, tell us.
I love the video chats. They've been fantastic. It's been wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for See you again.
Aloha.